Alright, hello everyone. So, I'm not gonna bury the lead here. This is my quitting video. I am quitting Geometry Dash, and I just wanted to make this video to go over my different reasons for quitting, of which there are many, and then I want to talk about what'll be next for me, what'll be next for my channel, and finally, I wanted to do a showcase of Neverland, which is the top one that I was set to verify, which will now be released as an open verification. So without further ado, let's begin with my first reason for quitting, which is maybe the most obvious. I simply don't have the motivation to play Geometry Dash anymore. If you have been in the Platformer List Discord, then you've seen me talking about this for many months now. But what you might not know is just how long I've been losing motivation for, because the truth is, I've been steadily losing motivation ever since I verified Delightful Climb, basically. Um, in fact, I actually remember making plans to quit as early as before I verified Ruined, which was in March. So, this has been going on for almost a year now, and just opening the game has been difficult to do for most of the year. Like, I think pretty much ever since Null Space, roughly, just sitting across from my computer and opening the game has constantly taken me many minutes to do, which is usually not something that happens for a video game that, you're supposed to enjoy playing. The only real motivation I still had to play GD was the external motivation of wanting to perform well, wanting to be praised by my friends in the community, and wanting to achieve all sorts of arbitrary goals. And speaking of arbitrary goals, I don't remember exactly when I decided this, but I had this sort of list of two main goals that I really wanted to achieve by the end of 2025. And I told myself, I think this was around September probably, that no matter what, at the end of the year, I'd be quitting. And if I achieve the goals, that's great. If I don't, that's okay. We move on. And those goals were one, be number one on the platformer rank leaderboards at the end of the year. And number two, win the GD Awards for Best Player. So I obviously didn't achieve the first goal because I ended up placing at number two. And as for the second goal, as of me recording this, I don't know yet, but we'll see. Either way, like I said, 2025 is come and gone, and I am now done with the game. Okay, so now for the second main reason I have for quitting, which is my age and my real life responsibilities. So I am 20 years old. I'm studying for a master's in mathematics, and I have a part-time job as a teaching assistant at the university that I study at. And I feel like GD is sort of at odds with this sort of real life that I'm trying to lead. Not only in the sense that I'm losing a lot of time to playing GD, but also even when I'm not playing GD, you're kind of always thinking about it, So it feels like GD is holding me back in life. It's making me focus less on my academic life, my work life, especially my social life. But beyond all of these things, it also just feels weird to me that I'm still playing Geometry Dash. Not just because of my age, because I don't think it's wrong to be playing GD in your 20s. There's plenty of people that I respect the hell out of that are in their 20s and that play GD, right? But just on a personal level, it feels weird to me that I'm still playing this game, me, not anyone else. Just like something in my brain is telling me that it's really time to move on already. So I think it's really just time to listen to that part of my brain at this point. So, for this next part, I don't know if this is like a reason for quitting per se, but I wanted to talk more in depth about the platformer rank race. So, for those of you who don't know, platformer rank is sort of the main form of competition among platformer players. I was number one on the platformer rank leaderboard for almost 8 months from April through to December, where I lost that placement to Tanuklin, which made me lose that race for number one that I was talking about in the first section. So in late 2025, it really started to feel like everything was hinging on this race. Uh, because not only was being number one at the end of the year a goal in itself, but since that would affect the way people voted in the awards, both goals of mine were at stake, it felt like. And it got to the point where I started seeing anyone's progression, like, and I'm not talking about just Tanuklin here. I'm talking about literally anyone who beat like a difficult level, right? Anyone's progression started to feel like a threat to my number one position, even though obviously 99 times out of 100, it was completely inconsequential, right? Um, but this really increased my anxiety to an all-time high, and it was really miserable, like constantly thinking about the game like this. And of course, when the extremely talented Russian players Artemka and Tanuklin started to pose actual threats to my number one position late in the year, that made December like the most stressful month in my time as a player. Not to mention, I spent most of that month like grinding a level in secret. Pastels, Lapels, and Seashells, or PLS, was a level I wasn't even allowed to tell anyone I was playing. And that was going to be the way that I was going to make up platformer rank points for that month. But I wasn't playing anything other than that level because it proved to be way harder for me than I thought. And that was absolutely nerve wracking in and of itself. Not to mention, again, it was on top of all of this other stress from the race. And to top it all off, my final position for the year ended up being number two, which to some extent kind of makes all of it feel pointless. But I kept telling myself as I was playing the level that, like, I would kind of feel terrible if I just threw in the towel. So I know I had to do it, but at the same time, it really sucks that, you know, it didn't even result in me fulfilling my goal. Um, but it is what it is, and we move on. And for my final reason for quitting, I briefly wanted to talk about my gender a little bit and how it relates to GD, because it really sucks being a semi-famous trans community member. And I'm not even talking about transphobia here, even though I do get transphobic comments from time to time. But I just mean, like, you can really tell most people in the community don't even know you're trans, even if you try really, really hard to make it known. And I did try really hard. I put my pronouns in my bio, and I made all kinds of community posts about it. But despite everything, I kept seeing comments on my videos and also sometimes on other people's videos that just assumed that I was a guy and just used he, him pronouns for me despite everything. And it was really demotivating. It again felt like all of the effort was for nothing. Um, and this feeling that all of the effort was for nothing was sort of confirmed when I watched some people's reactions to the GD Awards. And like when Vortrox got to my nomination, he started A, cracking stupid jokes about the way I record, but also B, just using he, him pronouns for me again, like it's just the default. And it was really frustrating. And to make all of this worse, I briefly wanted to mention that the G in Gtoast, like the username that I've been using for 10 years, comes from my dead name, which sort of put me in a really awkward position again because I felt like if I changed my username, then no one would recognize me in the community anymore. But if I didn't do it, then I would be stuck with a username that's derived from my dead name, and I hate it. So it took me a really long time to come to terms with the fact that I do just need to change my username. Now, obviously, this channel is still called Gtoast, but I have made a new Discord account with a new username. I might put the thing up on screen so you can see. And I do think I might either eventually change the name of this YouTube account to the new username, or if not, then I'll probably just start a new channel with that username. But either way, I really want to distance myself from the Gtoast brand, so definitely don't expect to see many new uploads after this one. So for all of the reasons that I just mentioned, I'm going to be quitting Geometry Dash, at least as a top player in platformer mode. I might occasionally get the urge to complete like an easy extreme or a classic extreme or something like that, but either way, you're not going to see me upload a completion video of it to the channel. And other than that, there's two more loose ends that I wanted to tie up. So number one, like I said before, is the release of Neverland, which I'm tying that up with the release of this video. So there's a showcase at the end of the video, and if you want to know a bit more about the level and its history, you can read the description. I think that ramble is best saved for the description. The second loose end is a mega collab that I joined last year, or was it 2 years ago? I don't remember at this point. That was initially hosted by Yuko, but Yuko has since sort of dropped out of the project, and long story short, I'm essentially hosting it now. Most of the layout is already done. There's no deco yet. I'm gonna try to deco my own part. No promises for that. It should be like maybe an easier end platformer extreme, and then with a deathless coin that will hopefully make it pretty difficult. I think I will verify that alongside hosting it and release that on my account. But other than that, and other than Neverland, and other than like sporadic extreme demon completions, I think I'm done. So thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and without further ado, let's get into the Neverland showcase.